I want to be able to present to you, Nikar, just share with you some of what I actually do to grow my business, and I hope it's going to help you grow your business because I want to change the paradigm shift of thinking about how you do real estate. So this is our roadmap. We always should have a roadmap. So we're going to talk about structuring a scalable global real estate business. Look at bringing value using intelligence, factual data. I want to talk about some of the service platforms and revenue channels you should be looking at in your business, and maybe some of you are. And then we're just going to look at closing out the international transactions with the right professional team. I do see some faces on here that I've done it and have relationships with, like Antonio and others. But what I want to take away on this is that trillions of dollars are done in cross-border capital flows. And you want to be involved with that, create opportunities. Because nowadays, people don't need anyone to just bring them comps. They need a trusted provider, a trusted advisor. They're looking for someone who has market intelligence. And that's something that we need to bring to them to add value. So let's talk about your business structure. I believe every business should have a clear vision and a brand identity. And I want you to rethink about it when this is over, to go back and look at it. Is your vision something that when someone comes to your website, do they see more than just listings, but do you have a vision? Do you have a mission statement that resonates with what they're looking for in a trusted advisor? And then when it talks about brand, when it comes to brand, when they think about real estate, do your company come to mind? When we think about sodas, we know Coca-Cola, Pepsi. It's not the soda, it's the brand. When we think about computers, we see Apple or we see Dell. It's the brand that people resonate with. Then think about, how do you build strategic relationship? This business we're at, as you all know, is relationship. The key to any business that you're growing in real estate is always going to be relationships, because that is the seedbed of growth for you. Then finally, how do you develop systems for your investors? How is your communication, your flow? And then what you want to do is create operational consistency across multiple countries, markets that you're dealing with. So this is what, when individuals come, they see on our platform. This is our how and our why. I'm not going to read the slide for you, but you'll see some keywords: trusted name. What we want to do is be a trusted partner to our client, to our customer, employees, stakeholders. And that's what you want. You want to have a mission statement that lets that client, customer, that person who's reaching out to you, what differentiates you between all the others? So go back and look at, do you have a mission statement? If you don't, develop one that resonates with what your brand, your company. And then what is your vision? Because your vision is going to make sure that you stay on the trajectory of what you want to do to grow your company. If you don't have a vision statement, then what's going to happen is you'll be, just trying to follow the market or try to follow the latest fad. You don't need to follow the latest fad. Once your mission and your vision is clear, individuals who come to you, they will know it, and you'll be able to guide them through whatever transaction they're looking for, because you're going to have a roadmap for yourself. And some of the key words you see here, we bring professionalism, integrity, and transparency. So let's talk about structure. What is your core business? What is that niche, if you have it, whether it's commercial, residential? I love global. I love international, because my background for me started international, doing major defense contracts, working with countries such as Saudi Arabia, or going to Turkey or South Korea. I mean, I chased a $2 billion for 2 years contract with South Korea. So I learned the culture, I learned the people. But I also, when COVID came, I brought those same gifts, those same talents into real estate and used them to build a global business. So what is your core business, and what is that niche that you work in? Then look at what is your international partnerships. You will be surprised the partnerships you go just by going to trade missions or starting to reach out. And I'm sure you all are doing that here. But the cross-pollination opens up so many opportunities. As Deanna mentioned and Getty talking about value, when I was talking with them, and he had mentioned, and joining in one of the sessions I was doing about the International Property Show. I'm a global ambassador with them. But just going to the IPS, speaking on a platform, I wind up building relationships with individuals in Oman and Indonesia, relationships I wouldn't have been able to do. But it was through these venues that helped me to build more relationships. So I want to encourage you. How do you look at building relationships? And it may take you 3 or 4 years in that seed form, but once people come to trust you, they'll work with you. Then you want to talk about the advisory service. This is where you're bringing your team in to help investors, developers, and family offices. I thank you all for your patience. As a chair of our commercial council, I was just here putting on a presentation with our local city and county about brownfields, bringing value to our members here of how they can take a land and remediate it, remove 80,000 tires and put a multifamily homes on there and get tax incentives for the developer. And this helps the community. This helps the agent or broker to now stop and look at what maybe land others were overlooking and see opportunities. And then finally, you want to look at operational support. What is that team legal? What is the accountants that you have? Who's the property management? As you know in commercial, if you had bad property management, it affects the bottom line. And do you think about concierge services? I'll give you a quick example. I was going into a recent commercial award show, and I saw these 2 McLaren cars being pulled up to the front. Now, I stopped and asked the marketing director and the sales agent, could I take a picture with the McLarens? But it really wasn't what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was make a connection with them, because you never know what client you may get. And if you can now offer them services other than real estate, then that adds value to your business and your company. So be thinking outside the box when you see there are opportunities around you. And I always do that. So you want a scalable global business. We talk about having systems in place, building those strategic partnerships. You want to look at how do you work with international investors. They want to engage with someone who has expertise and a global reach. You want to diversify your services, and we'll talk more about that. And then building the strategic alliances. So the takeaway here is that investors not simply just, looking for property. They want to buy with confidence, and they're going to make sure you're bringing them value and helping them and guiding them in that. Any questions so far? I hope this is helping someone. All right. So why do you offer? What do you offer to your clients? What are you bringing to your customers and investors? So again, they want advisory level services. They want investment intelligence and strategic guidance. They want you to be able to differentiate between factual data and hidden opportunities. And so you say, what do you mean by that? Okay, in the U.S., yes, interest rates up, factual data. But there's opportunities. If you buy now, 2 years later, you've got equity in that land, you've got equity in that property. Maybe your business in 2 years now, business growth. But like Warren Buffett says, when everyone runs away from the market, that's when he runs in. So a good realtor, broker, agent is going to find the hidden opportunities regardless of the factual data and be able to explain to a client or customer why this is a good opportunity, even in the current economic or geopolitical market. This is where you become a rock star. And I found this, that even just in my own, looking at opportunities that are hidden, because we do a lot of off market and we find these opportunities even in the current climate. And then finally, be that trusted advisor, again, that trusted resource. No one's looking for a transactional broker. That one and done is over. You have to be a trusted advisor and building relationships. Okay. So we have a commitment to deliver value to our clients and customers. We want to provide them and data. And I'm going to show you how I do that in a slide or two, how you provide data to them that shows them trends, demographics, what's the economic indicators, where businesses are flowing, rooftops are growing. Remember that where businesses are flowing, rooftops are growing because people follow and migrate where jobs, where businesses, where there's growth. And clients value the professionals who can identify those opportunities. So let's go to the next slide and we'll show you what we're talking about here. You've got to have a hidden gem strategy. So identify those off-market and undervalued opportunities, as I mentioned earlier. Be able to talk about the local market trends and investment. Know your demographics. Know the economic. And I know I'm probably speaking to the choir, but again, sometimes we get so bogged down in the day-to-day that we fail to go back and look at the fundamentals. And then help your investors understand the upside potential and their risk. All right. Okay. So here's an example I use. We're in Orlando. Most people, when you talk to them internationally, they're going to know Miami, they're going to know New York, they're going to know Los Angeles. But what is Orlando? Or they may say, I know Orlando for Disney. But that's not how we operate. We tell them it's a hidden gem. And you should be doing this in your area. What is the hidden gems that you can show? And if you look at it, this was a presentation we were given to an investor, and we showed them the hidden gem. Why? We talked about, look at the key message. 74 million visitors came into the airport in 2024. Out of that 74 million who are coming from around the world and the U.S., they're going to buy. They're going to come in. Some people are going to look at buying a business. Then they're going to buy residential. You want to capture that audience, but you also want to tell them with that number of people coming just into the area, opportunities for businesses. What is the cost of living? Be able to show data. And we pull it here. We show them from research. Look at the migration. Orlando, since COVID, has been averaging 1,500 individuals moving per week, and that's continuing. Florida as a whole has been experiencing migration. As you know, that when the two areas of Florida and Texas, the growth, migration, as well as some in the South, but know those numbers. Also, we talk about the economics. We get data from the U.S. Department of Commerce. We show them. And look at our GDP. Aside from tourism, know the gross domestic product for your area. We can tell them and say, hey, our GDP in Orlando outpaces these 5 cities, and they're major cities. And then finally, you want to show them what are the construction costs and how they rate to others. So I'm not just spouting, but we bring factual data too to help an investor, help a client to understand why it's best to invest in whatever the area. So have you thought about providing additional services and programs other than real estate? What about a global coaching and mentorship? We do that. You've got all these years of experience. Think about this as a new revenue stream. What about investor webinars? And we'll show you how we do those, or educational platforms. We do thought leadership articles. Not saying that we're the expert, but I'll give you an example. Maybe many of you have heard about digital tokenization in real estate. Well, a while back, Alma and I, we did a thought article and placed it on LinkedIn. And that began to generate a discussion. We had a gentleman from Ukraine. He reached out to us. We scheduled a meeting, and he runs digital tokenization for real estate over in Europe. That connection, just through the thought leadership article, builds a relationship. So when digital tokenization really takes hold in the U.S., we expect to be a pioneer, to be a partner with him. And then we found out in our own backyard, his partner was right here in Orlando. So we're working through an NDA with them. And it's not saying to be the expert on the subject, but to begin to start a dialogue, and you never know where the connection goes. And after that, then we had a gentleman from India. So it's very valuable when you put out leadership articles or just thought articles. It's more than just the market trends or housing. Think outside the box. What's new? What can you do? Artificial intelligence, but start somewhere. And I guarantee you it's going to open up another service or program within your business. And then finally, look about referral and networking partnerships. So this was a global coaching that we do. We have a program where we go through 4 phases. We give a 55-page manual to those who are looking to get into global real estate. We even take a small delegation with us to Dubai when we go. But this is another service that we're providing and value to agents, to brokers, to anyone in the real estate industry. We've had people who, don't have a license, but they wanted to go and be in that environment because they had some business that's connected to real estate. So we do the global coaching and mentorship. And there's a key takeaway on the message that we do by providing value. And Deanna is going to share these slides with you all. Building a global brand. Want to leverage education. You've got to maintain visibility, and you've got to use the platforms out there. As you all know, this is not a secret service business. If no one knows you're out there, they can't do business with you. That's why we're so glad to hear you've got someone from South Africa. You've got, Antonio, I'll give him a shout out again, from Portugal. That these international relationships, as many as you know, you've got to be visible, and you've got to create these long-term engagements. And then you've got to position yourself as the international market authority. All right. So building a global brand, let me show you how. We do an Investor Summit webinar. We put these on, and we invite investors from all over. This is how we connected with Getty, just, through different seminars, but be consistent in it. It brings trust, and it leads professionals. Yeah. Hey, they want to work with you. So do video content. Think about webinars. Remember, this business, you're going to have to look at what you do more than just the normal real estate. So we put on this webinar, and we'll continue. We've got another coming up in the third quarter of our business that we're going to be doing here in 2026. But again, this is another avenue for you to be thinking outside the box. And you may say, I don't have the time to do this. Let me tell you, you do not have the time to do that. I know that's a double negative, but in this day and age, you've got to have multiple streams of income. Okay, I hope this is helping someone. So let's talk about our fourth and final. This is now we're going to land this plane, closing the deal. So your global transactions, you've got to have coordinated execution. For those of you who do global, you know that. You got to have a trusted team. And when are we talking about trusted teams, who is on your team? Earlier in the slides, we talked about, legal and CPAs and all. One of the things that I do on the team is think outside the box again, bringing in CPAs that we work with that can help a investor, a buyer, restructure how they're going to acquire a property. To think about it not just as litigious and protection, but what does it save them? Let's say here in the U.S., how many of you know about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act? If you put it, raise a hand there in your screens. There we go. I see Ahmad says that. But do you know that if you bring a client to a good CPA firm, and we have one that we work with, and you look at what is this acquisition and what is going to be the exit strategy, but also what opportunities can I take on the tax laws that's going to help my client we've got, as Deanna was saying, that one portfolio. We ran the numbers for that, those 10 homes. You can help the client write off up to $1 million using the accelerated depreciation. So think outside the box, regardless of politics, number 45, number 47, but what does the law says and what advantage can it help? Also, do you think about, I believe earlier when talking with Deanna, you all had Money Corp come in. Using Money Corp versus using a traditional bank will save your client thousands of dollars on the exchange rate. By the time you get ready to close on the deal, whatever that exchange rate is, the banks are going to increase that cost for your client. If you work with a, exchange like Money Corp, I'm, just giving you an example, and I know them well, and we work with them. The fact is that they lock in a rate, so it could save your client thousands of dollars in the transaction. And again, word of mouth is the greatest advertising. When you save your client tremendous amounts of money and doing a new purchase, they're going to go and tell others. So again, think about that. Then the communication, and make sure compliance is essential, and then have confidence when you close this deal. I love when somebody says, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. And that's very important. That's what you tell them. So we close the deal, cross-border transactions. You've got to have that team, legal, financial, tax, like I just talked about. I'm not the expert in other areas. I stay in my lane, but I count the teammates that I have to give my client or customer the right information to help them make the right decision, because ultimately it's their decision in the due diligence process. But again, with effective communication, regardless of the coach and the time zones, it can be the deciding factor in a successful transaction. So your global team, these should be some of the individuals that you should make sure you have on your team. Hope I'm good on the team. Time about the deal team. Yeah, investors become more confident when you have that coordinated team, and professional partnerships definitely reduce the risk. And that is the key. You can't, negate the risk, but you want to be able to manage the risk and enhance their experience. So here's the future of global real estate. It is borderless. One of the things you have to look at is stop fishing in the same pond everyone else is in. In your local area, you want to start thinking global, because really, if you take the G off of global, it's nothing, almost local. I know we've got a misspelling there, but we don't have the C in there. But think of it, global can become local. Again, you want to make sure your client seeks advisors with a global reach. And then the next generation of growth for you is going to be through international collaboration. So if you're not using AI, you're going to be left behind. If you're not using artificial intelligence to help you in every area of your business, you are wasting time. We've got to use the tools that are afforded to us to help you in this day and age, whether it's you're using data rooms, whether it's you're using WhatsApp, whatever is using AI to help you write a thought article or just doing an email. I'm telling you, there's only so many hours in a day you have, but utilize artificial intelligence. And that way you can help bring that to your client and customers. All right. So any questions? I know I've thrown a lot of material, but like I said, this was just as if we were sitting down, having a cup of coffee, CEO to CEO, and just talking about rethinking how you're doing business and a new paradigm shift.
Hey, Darrell, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Great presentation. Thank you. I was taking notes. I would say for those of us maybe on the call that are a bit newer to being global, there's a couple that have done global, but for those of us trying to break in or get involved, from what I understand in your presentation, it's as simple as joining the calls, the webinars, right? Start there, network. You can build up to being on a plane, going to the meetings in person, but that expectation is a little later. You don't have to be in Dubai to do business in Dubai, as an example. So just maybe leverage those relationships on webinars. Would that be your number one piece of advice for folks trying to get started here?
I would say that start with the webinars. Getty, great questions you've done. Also, with your association, if they have a global council, start with them. Also, NAR, go out, look at what they have on their website about global and learn. Maybe just state. I know here at Florida Realtor, we have classes and training. And then look at growing and getting your CIPS. We can help give you a designation there. For those who have been in global for a while, again, just rethinking, hey, how am I now doing global? Recently, I went to Realtor Quest in Canada just to be able to start building relationships there. So going on 1 or 2 trade missions. And again, that will help you grow. And I'm not a tax expert, but I do believe when you go on these trade missions, you can write off a lot of the business expense because it is a business expense, and, enjoy the local culture. So great question. Anyone else?
Ahmed?
Excellent information. And I think
Thank
it makes a great difference when you make those trips to international conferences. And being one of the ambassadors to Dubai, to the IPS, I know Daoud very well. I've known him for many years. And I think it makes a big difference that one-on-one. It also shows your commitment and your interest in doing the business. I was a global ambassador prior to that as a president's liaison for NAR for the UAE. And so I know how all these connections work, and then to South Africa. So tell me, with your presence there, and I understand you also made a presentation. You are one of the presenters.
Yes.
Right. So what kind of feedback did you get when you got back here? Suddenly people were connecting, asking you to make those deals possible. So what are they looking for? And depending, I suppose, from different parts of the world, but what are they looking to invest? And I mean, there's a lot of conversation going on about foreign policy, but still, it's a very safe place to invest, the U.S. So, can you give us a little bit of the background on that?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things is that when people are looking to invest in, and as you know this, Ahmed, your background, normally they're going to look at whether they can come in a business and then maybe residential for their family. So what we're saying is I make the reciprocity that I'm selling Orlando and I'm giving them information on where is the best business and is commercial, and then what's residential. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you probably just concentrate on Florida, but if they have an interest, say in Illinois, Chicago is a great city of what's happening around here, then you would refer it to one of your realtor connections in the area. You're correct?
Well, that's what the purpose of this is that collectively we help refer to each other here, because your market. But if I have someone that just mentions, hey, I'm looking at the Northern Illinois. Oh, I know a gentleman. I know, Ahmed. I know Marty. I know some of the others, wherever you are, or someone in South Africa. This is where this relationship is so important, that when we come together like this, going to Dubai, I didn't know I would meet someone in Oman. Now I have that connection. And as you know, it may take seed forms, or Indonesia. Going to Canada. Canadians are one of the largest investors here in Central Florida. But we're also expanding into Texas. So it's building that global presence wherever you're at, to help your person that you never know through one conversation, that you may be able to get a referral somewhere. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Antonio, my friend, you have a question?
Not so much a question, but more like just to say kudos. Darrell, always a pleasure. Rock star, listening to you and everyone. I think we're always here to learn and grow. That's what it's about. And, it is true, having the right team on your side, Darrell, is especially for international. And when I mean by team, lawyers, referral partners, realtors, the bits. One of them that's we're closing on multiple. I mean, we're talking a few million euros of properties here with somebody that we met at IPS last year. Okay, somebody there. We had conversations. We had a booth there, so we met with quite a few people. And the conversations, people now from Dubai, they're looking at other points of interest to live and move and invest and everything. And so it was great. And having Money Corp, because technically, you don't even need a bank account here in Portugal. You can use Money Corp. They can transfer.
Right.
IBAN. And I think it's something for us, of course, having that team. You said it best. I love that, because it is, there is no I in team. You got to have the people around you. And it is great. So I'm not surprised the success that you have, of course, because you are a rock star, and it's always a pleasure listening to you. So I wanted to come in and say hi to you, my friend.
Well,
Big hug.
I thank you. I thank you for that. And that's how you and I connected, just through, globally. And, you've always been great. I follow you too. So it's just confirming what we're just sharing here. Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you, Darrell. Thank you.
So I don't know how we are on time, Getty. So
Yeah,
I hope I wasn't over.
If you want to run through Darrell, I think Deanna can share your opportunity for your haves and wants. And
Okay.
unless some people have questions, it's up to you, though.
Okay. So before we do that, I do have my business manager, Alma, on. She may have talked earlier while waiting. But Alma, do you have any comments that you want to share before we go into the need and then close out?
As Antonio said, you actually nailed it again, Darrell. Everything, the presentation is great. You're able to inform them or provide them additional information and knowledge about the real estate. So 2 thumbs up on that, Darrell.
Thank you. Well, she's being modest because Alma handles all of the office support for us. She handles the international calls, sets up the meetings. She handles all of our social media. And also, Deanna, on that last slide, has all of our contact information that you'll have. But we'll go quickly into just share a little bit about this want. And then I'll turn it back over to you all.
Can everybody see my screen pretty well?
Yes.
Yes, we can. Okay, so this is what we and our brokerage, Goya and Costa, we have this investment portfolio, 10 homes right now. So if you go through the next slide, just want to share, and you'll see just what I was sharing in the presentation right here, also within this little portfolio. So we're doing 10 homes, 90% occupancy. We're asking 5.1, already income on it of 357K. The cap rate, even though this is residential, but because it's a portfolio we're doing as commercial, it's about a 6%. Next slide. So again, showing an investor, we put this together, just following up. Here's a financial overview. You can see the numbers there. So we provide that. And again, remember I talked about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act? So we're telling the investor, hey, we can bring you, help you structure from between 785K to 1 million. This basically is telling the investor, you can pay for this after you take this tax incentive this first year. Almost 20% of the acquisition cost for this. And this slide will provide to you too. So if you have investors or whatever, we'd love to work with you on a referral for this. Next slide, Deanna. And these are just, and you can quickly go through them. We show the locations. These are brand new. 6 of them are brand new that we bought from a developer. Next slide. Some of them are single family homes, great established neighborhoods. The rent on them are, above the market, so it's stabilized. Next slide. Again, nice neighborhoods. Some of these homes have been renovated, but you have tenants in them. Next slide. And again, more of the homes there that we have. Next slide. So, as you can see, again, a great opportunity, great investment, above market. We'll provide financials once we go through, the due diligence. Next slide. And we talk about the investor positioning. See, again, who's it ideal for? Private equity, 1031. So not just an acquisition, but again, we're telling them. So there you go. Next one. And finally, the benefits. So just want you to see how we put this together to follow up with the presentation, what information you provide. You all have done this, and for those of you, it just gives you an idea of thinking outside the box. And so I really hope that I brought value to today, that I've shared with you, and our contact information. Would love to follow up with you, and hopefully we can work together between Florida, Illinois, or wherever. All right? And we'll close that out.
Okay.
Deanna, I want to thank you so much for walking me through all of that, for this opportunity, and I look forward, Alma and I look forward to working with each and every one of you.